Apple refreshed the MacBook Pro lineup a couple months ago, and although I've never owned a MacBook, I felt like I had to pick one up. This year the Pro lineup consists of 14-inch and 16-inch versions, which follow up the 13-inch M1 Pro from last year. We get a refreshed design with some significant performance upgrades, so let's dive in and see if it's worth the high asking price. Inside the box you get the laptop. I bought the 14-inch, along with a very large charging brick, and a nice braided cable that is USB-C to Magsafe. You also get the black Apple stickers with the Pro devices because you're special now. The build is nice, if not a little generic. It's solid aluminum, and it's a little heavy at 3.5 pounds. Unfortunately, it's only available in silver and space gray finishes. While it's not thin and light like most Ultrabooks, it's not overly heavy and still feels like it will be easily portable in like a backpack or a bag. I really like how the body is flat straight across and not the sort of sloping clamshell design you see on a lot of other computers where it's thicker at the back than at the front. So overall it's a little bit thick, but it doesn't affect usability and makes room for a nice port selection. The ports we get on the left include 2 USB-C Thunderbolt 4 ports, a high impedance headphone jack, and a Magsafe charger. On the right side, you get another Thunderbolt 4 port, an SD card reader, and an HDMI port. Overall, this is an excellent port selection. I think the only thing that would have made it better would have been a USB-A port, just for legacy devices that don't have USB-C, like my microphone I use. It's awesome that Apple brought back Magsafe, but they never should have removed it in the first place. And by the way, Magsafe is awesome. It provides easy connection for charging and it holds really strong, but would pull out if you tripped over the cord. You can charge through any of the USB-C ports, but you'll get the fastest charging with Magsafe and the gigantic 96-watt power adapter. So as a Windows user, the trackpad is excellent. I've heard that before, but I've never really got to use one. It's really big and the tactile feedback is great no matter where you click, unlike most Windows laptops that use a hinge design that doesn't click on the top and gets looser as you go lower. The keyboard isn't upgraded, but it does have a nice feel, decent travel, and a nice layout. The only new thing regarding the keyboard is the black area surrounding the keyboard, which replaced the typical gray you're used to seeing, and they got rid of the touch bar in favor of normal buttons. I never experienced the touch bar, but I think overall people are going to be happy to have the buttons instead. Overall, it looks better and it's a nice keyboard. No complaints. Now let's talk about the screen. The screen is a 14.2-inch liquid Retina XDR display. It's 3024 by 1964 pixels with HDR, and it's a mini LED display. It's got tiny bezels all around, and yes, it has a notch. I'm not sure why Apple felt the need to add this thing, but it's definitely not as bad as all the press it's been getting. It houses a 1080p webcam and a light sensor, and it's definitely way bigger than it needs to be. I mean, Apple even hides it in their own pictures. But you don't really notice it in day-to-day use. Yeah, it looks stupid, but your eyes are really focused on the center of the screen when you're using it, and it just sort of blends in. Ugly notch aside, this screen is impressive. Being mini LED, it gets super dark, almost reaching OLED levels. Next to a typical LCD display, you can see that at the lowest brightness level, it's nearly perfect black, while the LCD has a whole screen backlight that stays lit all the time. It's probably hard to notice in this video, but you can definitely see it in person, and it looks really good. The screen also gets super bright, reaching up to 1000 nits sustained brightness with a peak 1600 nits in certain scenarios. The refresh rate can reach up to 120 frames per second, which is crazy for a laptop, but not a ton of apps supported at the moment. And last but not least, let's talk about the speakers. The speakers on here are the best I've ever heard in any of my laptops.
No way!
These things are crazy. They get super loud and actually have pretty decent bass. I know MacBooks have always had really good speakers, but I'm still impressed every time I play a song or a video on these things. Coming from a Windows laptop, it's just night and day difference. Some of you may not care about this and just use headphones, but I really like it. So performance has also been top notch. The Pro models this year are available with either the M1 Pro chip or the Pro Max chip. Given how good performance was already on the regular M1 chip, I kind of already knew this would be powerful, and it definitely doesn't disappoint. The base M1 Pro chip comes with an 8-core CPU and a 14-core GPU. This is upgradable to a 10-core CPU and a 16-core GPU, which is the configuration I chose. Both models come with a base of 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is also upgradable, but that should be enough for the majority of users. Also note that upgrading to the 10-core CPU that I did also upgrades the charger from the base 67 watt to this gigantic 96 watt. There's a ton of storage options, but they are really expensive as you step up. Base storage starts at 512 gigabytes, but I upgraded to the 1 terabyte just to future-proof the device. As I do with my phones, I always recommend going with more storage than you think you need. And all of that said, I didn't even touch on the Pro Max chip, which is just ridiculous levels of performance that 99% of the general public won't use. But just know if that is your use case, then you're probably rich. So to sum up performance, this thing flies. Not only is it faster in day-to-day tasks than any other laptop I've ever used, it also crushes more intensive tasks like video editing in Final Cut Pro and okay, I don't really do a ton of intensive stuff, but it handles 4K video with a million transitions and cuts and audio samples with ease. I'm really struggling to think of what I could throw at this that might actually slow it down. Maybe 8K video or 4K with 10-bit, but it handles 4K 8-bit just fine. Side note, it does get a little hot on the bottom when doing intensive stuff, but I've yet to hear the fan spin up like ever. Battery life has been good-ish. It's got a 70 watt-hour battery, which is decent size, but definitely not the biggest you can get in a laptop. I was hoping for MacBook Air levels of battery life, and it gets close, but it can't quite reach it. But it's definitely worth the trade-off for your performance improvements. I use my laptop sporadically, so it's hard to nail down a specific number, but I can go 2 days of normal web browsing before needing a charge. You can kill it fast in like 3 to 4 hours when editing videos and stuff, but it recharges really quickly with the fast charging available. So using my grading scale that I just made up and haven't referenced at all in this video, let's give it a B+. So who's this laptop for? Well, it's definitely not for the average consumer. It's way too expensive, and if you aren't doing intensive stuff, then you're not going to get your money's worth with this laptop. For things like that, you can get an M1 laptop and be just fine, like last year's MacBook Air. But if you edit videos or photos, or maybe you run some kind of intensive 3D modeling program for work, these are the types of things that these laptops are made for. You're getting near desktop performance and a portable body that you can take with you, or not. I like to plug mine into my monitor in clamshell mode and use it like a desktop. Actually, it costs so much I'm probably scared to take it anywhere anyways. It's pretty much unheard of to get a laptop that is this powerful and efficient, but there is a caveat that comes to mind. You'll see better results if you use Apple programs or others that are optimized for Apple software. And while you can run the majority of the x86 classic PC applications like Windows programs, thanks to Apple's Rosetta translation, these are not going to run as if they were optimized for Apple from the ground up. So if the program you need all this power to run isn't optimized for Apple Silicon, this may not be the best choice for you. But yeah, other than that, this thing is a beast. Really, really impressive. It's the most powerful laptop I've ever used, and it's not even really close. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for stopping by.